I was curious though, musically, how you guys. So obviously you've been playing for forever, but you guys have different sort of walk up songs for each person, and then sometimes like Tony will make like I think one he made it like an Imagine Dragons reference, and then you guys were playing Imagine Dragons in the interludes, and I was like, that couldn't have been planned, but you guys all know how to play it together without rehearsing. How does that work? Because I was involved in music through high school, but like never to that point where you could just do something like that off the cuff. And it sounds great as well. It's like you can't tell, like it's amazing. It sounds rehearsed.
Oh, thank you, man. I'm hearing this more and more from people, and it makes me really happy to know, because I mean that's basically all we're there to do is kind of like be in the moment and try to illustrate the moment musically, and to get feedback like that means a lot. Yeah, we never rehearse. There's no way like to rehearse for the show.
No, absolutely not.
And so what happens is sometimes someone will say something, and a good relatable song for that moment is something that we already all know. So like when they get ready to walk off the stage, someone in the band can just go, okay, now play, Let's Get It On, right? It's like we all know that song. We can just go. In some cases, people have like pre-requested songs for their walk-up. David Lucas has told us that he loves the song "Friends in Low Places," so that's why we reference that. For a long time, Tony and Brian wanted us to play Kung Fu Fighting for Hans. Well, Hans didn't like that, and fair enough. He asked me personally if like we could play this Andrew WK song, "Ready to Die," and then I gave it a listen. And I was like, "Yeah, this is great. It'll be easy to put together. It's a simple song, but also it's real high energy." Every time we play that song, I feel like we're on an episode of Full House or something. So yeah, some of the stuff is planned as much as it can be, but then there's so many moments where someone will say something. The Imagine Dragons reference. It was one of those moments during the interview where I was like, "Well, that's the song." This guy spent a decent amount of time on Imagine Dragons. Like, we have to play one of those songs. And I already knew a couple other songs just from gigs that I've had to do. So I tried to pick the one that I knew or I thought would be most recognizable. And so, we've all got we don't have to lock our phones up. Everyone in the audience does, but we don't. So I'll look it up on Spotify and I'll just send the guys a link. And, John and D Madness have incredible ears, and like they can basically learn songs on the fly without like touching their instrument. As long as they know the key that we're going to play it in. And then Mike can, grab the groove, and as long as we can like reference the song, like play the song well enough that people can recognize it for anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute, which is basically just one section. Then it works. Then it'll land. And so that's usually what happens is there'll be a moment in an interview and it'll remind someone of a song that kind of goes along with that moment. There was, we had Jared Nathan up there. His stutter is intense. And he said, I don't know, he said a word that started with B, and as soon as he did it, like all I could hear in my head was like "Bad to the Bone." and so, I just messaged the guys like, "Let's play Bad to the Bone." And that's usually how it goes. It's just some moment will happen that will remind us of a song, and if we know the song, we can just play it. If not, everyone can like real quickly and quietly, check it out on Spotify and learn it well enough to play like through a section, and then you're off.
That's amazing to be able to, like, sight reading is one thing, but to play it by ear is like is a totally different thing. At least for me, because that's how they taught us in schools. Like, you read music and then you learn how to play. Like, sight reading is okay, but to play by ear is like, it would take me a little while to figure it out. Yeah. Do you guys have
especially in that high pressure situation?
Yeah.
Right? Like if you don't learn it, it's one of those things you have to develop your ear training. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Horn going on. Does this kind of stuff happen a lot on podcasts? Random noises.
I don't know. I didn't get picked up on my end, but yeah, I don't know.
Good. Yeah, you have to be able to identify, the harmonic and melodic elements very confidently. I remember earlier on in like my ear training abilities where it's like, okay, I think I heard, for example, like 2-5-1-6, and then I'd go to play the chords and like a couple of them were wrong.
Yeah.
And there's not any room for that on the show. And luckily, like, the players we have in the band are able to like take care of that,
Yeah. Do you guys all have like a headphone in when you send them like a Spotify link? Or do they play it like really quietly?
It depends. Like, most everybody in the band has their earbuds with them. But I've definitely been up there nights where like I didn't have them. So I'll put the volume at like, just like put it right up to my ear.
I think I saw you do that once or twice, and I was like, what is he doing? It's like, that's cool. Behind the scenes stuff for shows like this is always like fascinating to me for all the different, especially another thing that is really interesting to me is like y'all's relationship with Red Band and the soundboard, because sometimes like sometimes there'll be somebody will make a joke and then like Mike will hit the drums, but also sometimes Red Band will like hit something on the soundboard. And was that relationship difficult to kind of hash out, or was it how does that work? Because there are times where I could see like either being appropriate.
Yeah. Sometimes it doesn't work. That's a thing that we've never really talked about. Everyone knows that like that's a thing that Red Band does. I think if it's like a mid-interview thing, most of the time we try to yield it to Brian.
Yeah.
Like in terms of what happens during the show, and these are like unspoken rules. No one's ever said this, but over time you start to see that that's how it works. It's like, oh, band plays music between stuff. Brian plays the soundboard during stuff. But then there are those moments where like we want it to grow and swell into something more. So sometimes it like travels from soundboard to band. Sometimes it ends up being soundboard and band at the same time. Like if a thing happens that we've seen before and we know what Brian's about to do, we'll play with it. Other times there are awkward moments where the band is like, yeah, let's play something, and Brian had a totally different idea, and it's like you get both at the same time, and it sounds crazy.
Those moments are kind of funny though, because like nobody, it's just chaos anyway, so it just fits in. Like nobody, I feel like people don't notice it as a mistake. Not that it's a mistake, but like people don't notice it in that way. It's just more chaos.
Yeah, I feel the same way. It's so interesting how all that ends up working. It's just that because so little of it is planned and so much of it is about the chaos. It's like kind of, we know mistakes are going to happen, and we know that they're going to be like beautiful in their own way. And it's all good.